Close your eyes for a moment. Think of one memory you're absolutely certain happened exactly the way you remember it. Maybe it's your first day at school, a birthday, your first kiss, the day someone broke your heart. You can probably see the faces, hear the voices, even feel the emotions all over again. Now here's the question that should make you uncomfortable. What if part of that memory never happened? Not because you're lying, not because your mind is failing, but because your brain quietly rewrote it and convinced you the new version was the original. It sounds impossible, yet it's happening far more often than most people realize. In fact, by the end of this video, you may begin to question memories you've trusted for years. And that's not the most surprising part. The biggest discovery isn't that memory can fail. It's why your brain allows it to happen. Because your brain has never had one job. Most people assume its job is to remember the past. It isn't. Its real job is to prepare you for the future. And once you understand that, everything about memory starts to make sense. Imagine two siblings talking about the same family vacation years later. One vividly remembers their father laughing while they built a sandcastle. The other is just as certain he spent the afternoon reading beneath an umbrella. Both sound convincing. Both genuinely believe they're telling the truth. So who's right? The unsettling answer: maybe neither. Because memory isn't a recording hidden somewhere inside your mind. Every time you remember something, your brain rebuilds it from scattered pieces, details, emotions, expectations, and everything you've experienced since. In other words, remembering isn't like pressing play. It's more like pressing rewrite. And if that's true, the real mystery isn't why memories change. The real mystery is how your brain creates them in the first place. Because before your brain can rewrite reality, it has to build it. Think about what you had for breakfast 3 days ago. You might remember. Now try something harder. What were you wearing exactly 6 months ago today? Most people can't answer. Not because they have a bad memory, because their brain never thought it was worth remembering. That's the first secret of memory. Your brain isn't a storage device. It's a filter. Right now, your eyes, ears, skin, and nose are sending your brain an overwhelming amount of information every second. Every color, every sound, every movement, every sensation. If your brain tried to save all of it, you'd drown in useless details before lunchtime. So it makes a decision. What deserves to survive? The answer begins with one simple thing: attention. You don't remember what you see. You remember what you notice. Attention is like a spotlight sweeping across your world. Whatever falls inside that beam has a chance of becoming a memory. Everything outside it quietly disappears, often forever. But attention alone isn't enough. Once something captures your focus, your brain begins a remarkable process called encoding. This is where one of the biggest myths about memory falls apart. Your brain doesn't store experiences like a camera recording. Instead, it takes the moment apart. The face, the voice, the smell, the emotion. Then it stores those pieces across different parts of the brain, almost like scattering pages of the same story throughout a library. Later, when you remember the event, your brain gathers those pages and rebuilds the story. Deep inside your brain, a small structure called the hippocampus helps make this possible. Scientists discovered its importance through the famous patient Henry Molaison, whose brain surgery left him unable to form many new long-term memories. His case revealed something extraordinary. Memory isn't one system. It's an entire team working together. But even after that team creates a memory, the job isn't finished. Because a newborn memory is surprisingly fragile. And what happens over the next few hours, especially while you're asleep, determines whether that memory survives or quietly disappears forever. This is where the story takes an unexpected turn. Most people believe memories are like files stored in a cabinet. Once they're saved, they stay exactly the same. But that's not what scientists found. After a memory is formed, it goes through a process called consolidation. During sleep, your brain strengthens important experiences and lets less useful ones fade. That's why a good night's sleep is one of the most powerful memory tools you have. But even a well-preserved memory isn't permanent. Your brain is constantly editing. It forgets. It reorganizes. It fills in missing pieces. At first, that sounds like a flaw. In reality, it's a survival strategy. Imagine remembering every face you've ever passed on the street or every conversation you've ever overheard. Your mind would become so cluttered that finding useful information would be nearly impossible. So your brain makes a trade. It sacrifices perfect accuracy in exchange for efficiency. Then researchers uncovered something even more surprising. Psychologist Elizabeth Loftus showed that a single question could change what people believed they had seen. In one famous experiment, people watched the same car accident. Later, some were asked how fast the cars were going when they hit each other. Others heard the word smashed. That one word changed their memories. People who heard smashed were more likely to report broken glass that never existed. They weren't lying. Their brains had quietly rewritten the event. That discovery changed psychology and even influenced how police question witnesses today. But perhaps the biggest surprise came years later. Scientists discovered that every time you remember something, the memory can briefly become unstable before being stored again. This process, known as reconsolidation, means that recalling a memory isn't just retrieving it. It can also change it. Think about that for a moment. Every family story you've told, every childhood memory you've replayed, every painful mistake you've revisited, each time, your brain may have been making tiny edits without you ever realizing it. And if your memories are constantly being updated, what does that mean for the person you've become? That question may be the most important one of all. Because memory doesn't just shape what you know, it shapes who you are. Every success you've celebrated, every mistake you've learned from, every fear you've developed, every relationship you've built exists because your brain decided those experiences were worth carrying into the future. This helps explain something almost everyone has experienced. Two people walk away from the same conversation with completely different memories. Both insist they're right. Both are sincere. The difference isn't honesty. It's that no two brains build the same story in exactly the same way. The same principle explains why the best learners don't simply reread information. They retrieve it. Every time you actively recall an idea, you strengthen the neural pathways connected to it. Add enough sleep, and your brain becomes far more likely to preserve what truly matters. It also explains why reminders, calendars, and notebooks aren't signs of a weak memory. They're signs of a smart strategy. Even the most successful people know that memory works best when it's supported, not overloaded. Perhaps the biggest lesson, though, is one of humility. The next time you're absolutely certain someone remembers an event incorrectly, consider another possibility. You may both be remembering it honestly, just differently, because memory isn't a courtroom witness. It's a storyteller, and like every storyteller, it changes with every retelling. So think back to the memory you pictured at the beginning of this video. It probably isn't completely false. But it probably isn't an untouched snapshot of the past either. It's the newest edition of a story your brain has been editing for years. That's not a flaw. It's one of the greatest adaptations evolution ever produced. Your brain was never trying to preserve yesterday with perfect accuracy. It was trying to prepare you for tomorrow. And perhaps that's the most fascinating truth of all. The memories you trust most don't just describe your reality. They quietly help create it. If you found this insight valuable, subscribe to Mind Archive and turn on notifications. New videos every Tuesday and Friday. Understand your mind. Understand people. Until next time, stay curious.